That was good. We're talking about a serious matter, folks. We're talking about there's a limited lifespan for everything. If you don't think there's a limited life, lifespan for everything, that really is a soft drink. Um, then think about the last pet you had, whether it be a dog or cat, or dogs and cats. They had a limited lifespan. Yeah. Of course, we don't. But I just want to discuss this with you so you can see what you might want to do to make your life more fulfilled for the years you have left. Now, this will be somewhat comical as I discuss lifespans. This is $100 gift card from KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I gave it to a relative last Christmas, and he had never gotten a gift card before. That gift card had a limited lifespan. He took the gift card out and threw it in the trash, thinking this is what he takes in for the $100 worth of chicken. Now, the lifespan of this has lasted a year longer than the lifespan of the actual $100 card. But he didn't get even one piece of chicken by presenting this because he killed the card. It's not a cute way to start this off. This guy here, I used to read his books. You ever heard of, haven't even opened up this yet. This is Charles Bukowski, poet. Didn't become famous till he was about 50. Then became a millionaire. Had people coming from all over the nation, if not over the world, to come and stay too long, as he put it, in his home in California. That was almost a mansion from what I've seen. Charles Bukowski. Now here's my favorite poet. This is a good picture of him. What is this? Leonard Cohen. He's passed away. I saw him right before he died in concert. Singer and songwriter. Write his name down. Write his name down right now. And look him up on YouTube. And look at the section called Live in London. At 65, his money was stolen. His retirement money was stolen by his manager while he was gone on a mission of some type. The reason I mention this is what he looked like when he looked at his retirement. He wasn't too happy. At about 65, he and this lady named Sharon Robinson went up in his garage apartment. I think he had a apartment. No, he had a house in Los Angeles, and he had a garage. And they'd get up about 5 o'clock. Now I know this because I've read about 10 books about him, maybe 15 if there are. They'd get up and they would write or sing, and she'd sing, he'd sing. They had this piano thing that's electronic, and they came out with the first album since he had been on a mission. Came out with the first album in about 10 years, and I had been looking for another album by him because I had bought the first album in 1967, my last year of high school. Well, I found it at a Borders bookstore. It had such a creative title that you couldn't pass it by. I mean, I've seen some fancy song titles and some fancy, good-looking titles of covers. Touching You, Touching Me, I stowed that when I wrote a book. That's an album here somewhere in this room by Neil Diamond. I liked that title, so I stole it from him. So, put that book together. Love Poetry. Or Love Poetry I Wish I Had. Or Love I Wish I Had. That I made into poetry. Back in I think the last printing of it's 1974. And had no idea it was going to sell that way. Sold over the country, all the chain bookstores, gift shops, and college stores. Touching You, Touching Me. Now I say I stole it. I really didn't steal it because you cannot copyright titles. I'm still staring around looking for the cover of that. It had Christopherson and Barbara Streisand on it, I think. Or no, that's The Star Is Born. Well, you can tell this isn't very edited. Now, speaking about Christopherson, he had a limited lifespan. He's gone. I happened to see him 3 times in concert at Belterra Casino down here near Madison, Indiana. Who else do I have that I can show you that proves there's a limited lifespan? How about this? I was a ham radio operator once, and we could talk on these things to each other. And then if there was repeaters like there are now for cell phones, we're the ones that created it, ham radio operators. We create this stuff, and then the commercial people take it over. There weren't any cell phones when we created these. We were experimenters, but we had to earn licenses to become ham radio operators. And that's a limited lifespan because they have improved it so much that that's obsolete. I don't think anybody give me over $5 for it. Even being able to listen to people on a cell phone had a lifespan. Do you remember that? I'll show you this. This was the last scanner that would pick up cell phones. Boy, it's heavy. It's a Uniden Bearcat 800, model 800 XLT. I could put that on and I could listen to my neighbors talking on the phone. And not only on the cell phones, but also on cordless phone. Had a lot of fun with it. Heard a lot of good stories on it. Let me tell you a story. I don't know what hospital it was. I don't think it was ours because our ER emergency room guy was there all the time, night and day. Well, really, the night shift. Because sometimes I worked in mental health, and sometimes he called me in there to do evaluation. But anyhow, what I'm going to tell you about him is that he wasn't the guy that I was listening to on the cell phone. I mean, on the scanner. It was a smaller scanner than this. You have handheld scanners also. So I was listening to this doctor saying, now, I'm at home with a friend, and we're going to eat and have some fun. You cover for me. He was talking to a nurse in the emergency room. You cover for me, and if I need to come in because of an emergency, I can get there in 10 minutes. So otherwise, I won't be in tonight. So we have a nurse running the emergency room of one of 3 or 4 hospitals around here. And I live in a rural area. Not too rural, because if you didn't see the other 2 videos, I get this Christmas card upside down. You see my name? You see my address? There's no address. Only city, state, and zip. Do you see her return address? There's not a return address. There's a post office, city. Let's turn it over. Maybe she put the address on the back. No address on the back either? Well, they had to go down the phone book to get me then. And there's only 1,800 people here in town. 1,800? No, 18,000. Here's the card. If you're listening, dear lady, I really appreciate you sending this to me. It was a one-way ticket because there wasn't any way they could have sent it back if it wasn't delivered to me. Just to show you I didn't make it up, there is some writing. So I had to share that because Christmas is almost here. Now, here's something that's proves if nothing else that things have a limited lifespan. I want you to read this, and you will not doubt me when I say everything's got a limited lifespan. You see the date on that? Let's turn to the front so you know what it actually is. I think you know what it is. It's my calendar when I was a counselor. That was about one of the last years before I started having health problems, which we won't discuss, because I got a comment email from a nice gentleman saying, "Be happy, be happy." You know what he said? I did a special, right before this one, I did a special 7-minute or so video on that card, that Christmas card with no address. no return address and no street address. And I got the nicest email back, or text message, or response, as they call it. This guy says, "You have a fan." Well, I took it the wrong way. I thought he was referring to himself. I have a new fan. I looked at the number of my subscriptions, which is slightly over 300, 330 or something like that. Maybe not that many. I'm not that good. And I looked at it, and I thought, I don't think he subscribed. Well, after thinking about it all night and not sleeping, I got the second meaning. When he wrote, "You have a fan," it meant that the girl that sent me that Christmas card is now my fan. So I have one new fan. That I got to share with you another one. I love this one. Because if I had the money, I'd probably take him up on it. He said, "How could you have so few subscriptions?" He says, "I'm going to list what all would help you, and I will help you for free to polish it up and add those 10 or 15 items that would juice it up, maybe link it to other people, learn how to tag, learn how to make a thumbnail." I really, if you're listening, I thank you. And I said I may take you up on it. I just don't have the motivation now. I spent the day with a 95-year-old gentleman that I have as my oldest friend so far. For some reason, he thinks his life has a limited lifespan too. So does mine. I may go before he goes. Then I have other people I see that's homebound. They're 80 or over. So what do I do? Do I see elderly people and help them buy things from Amazon and run a bill for them? And whenever they got the money, or if they do have the money, they can pay then. If not, I'll write it off. I'm not going to be here forever either, so what am I going to do with the money if I do have any then? How you like that green? I got this today from the 95-year-old guy. He said it was the wrong size for him. So, thank you, Bob. Bob Tivis, thank you for this here hat. And I'm going to make this kind of short because I can wear you out picking up things. For example, I had a limited lifespan with this project. I got two things to show you before I close. This project, I have a lot of stuff down here I could show you, for this, but I'm not going to bore you. This is Cigar Box. The love affair ended when I was told I had COPD and emphysema. And that album, I said it was Touching You, Touching Me. Nope. A Star Is Born. Can I tell you one thing about this? It was someone I was seeing for counseling, and I was seeing them at no cost. Sometimes we'd even go out and get a hamburger. For appreciation, I find this under my door at the office. He liked old albums. In fact, I went to an antique store and he spent the whole time looking at old albums. Don't think he bought any. Well, everything has a lifespan. Since that time, his wife left him. Since that time, he moved. Since that time, I don't know where he lives. Everything, including people, have a limited lifespan. Well, that's a good way to wrap this up. If you have people that you really like, get yourself at least a $1.25 address book from Everything's a Dollar, or Dollar Tree rather, and put their name, address, and phone number and email in it. Because if you don't and they move, like 99% of people seem to have done in my life, you have no way to get them. It's possible people have reached me different ways. Amazon used to be mostly books, and people could leave messages. Some of my books were on there, and messages were there. Does anybody know if Jim Wortham is alive and what his address was? Well, they didn't get any comments, but I commented. I said, yeah, I know where Jim is. That's how I connected back up with people from, in that case, from writing my first book in 1969, which I doubt if you'll even see it listed anywhere. When Twilight Begins, followed by I Believe in Love, and then that's when I came out after that with Touching You, Touching Me, with that was the bestseller. Okay. I write when I want. I published 4 books. Last time I published was 3 or 4 years ago. Published 4 books at once. In case you're wondering, they did not hit all the English-speaking countries I was hoping for. But I'm thankful for the books that sold and that are selling. So there was a lifespan to the books I wrote starting in 1969. They sold everywhere, including other countries. Of course, they were English-speaking countries. Now there's so many books out there. I'm lucky to get a letter from Canada or England once in a while from someone that read it. or they read it free. If they have, I'll throw this out as a bonus. If you want to read some of my stuff, crazy stuff, love stuff, if you've joined Amazon's, I think it's called Kindle Unlimited. You can read it with an ebook free, three of the books. And I'm not sure, but I think I only charge 99 cents if you don't get them free. 3 of those, no, maybe all 4. Paperbacks are about $10 a piece. And I mentioned that just in case you like poetry. You can go to wordpress.com. I think you can just put my name in and you'll stumble across some pretty bad poems that I wrote. If not, I think it's called I don't know what I titled it. I need to switch it back to Jim Wortham so that in my later years, all you have to do is put Jim Wortham down and it'll lead you there. But go to WordPress, put Jim Wortham, you'll see him. Seems to be some other place I stuck some of the poems. Some of the worst ones are probably on X.com. And I only do that because I can press a button on WordPress and it jumps free right onto that. And I guess you just look under my name and it pops up things I wrote that are really, really bad. And when I say bad, we're talking about this. Unedited, unscripted, wrong words. I care, but I don't have the time. I don't have the time to care too much. That's what I'm getting at. I want to thank you for visiting me. If you want to be a subscriber, this is probably the best it gets. Oh, yeah, I have over 100 videos. I'm hoping some are better than this. I know there's got to be several that are worse. I don't have anyone helping me except for long distance, and that's Steve Tibbs, and he may be watching this. Steve Tibbs has a couple of these shows. The Life and Sad Ending of. That's what you want to look for. Or you could put Steve Tibbs, find out how many he's got as far as how many different sites. But I think his main one is called The Life and Sad Ending of. Now, I'll probably call him when I get off of here because, see, if anybody, including you, send me comments, half of them I can answer and half of them, for some reason, will have a design like this on it and says, undo the filtering. I don't know anything about filtering. I spent about 3 hours on that on Google and I'm not on Facebook anymore. And this, I couldn't figure out how to get all my messages. I did quite a few yesterday. I was on a roll, and then when I came back from a short trip I took, I could never get back on there to respond to people's comments. So I'm going to call them up and ask them what I'm doing wrong. I'm in my man cave. That's why you're seeing this stuff. Pretty junky, huh? This is because you don't make much as a poet. And when you give all your counseling away to people for free because they just got out of prison or they don't work or they're not on your insurance network, when you give 90%, 90% of your counseling away free for 30 years, this is where you end up living. A lot of people did get off alcohol and drugs, though. I don't know if I made the marriage counseling people better or worse. They didn't tend to come back. Oh my gosh. I tell teenagers, please consider getting off the dope, the drugs, the pot, the ecstasy. And they got up and they'd say, ain't coming back here again. You're not going to take my good times away. And this is how we'll end it. Hope to see you next time.